Hey, everybody out there, you're tuned in to 91.8 The Fan. You're in my corner, and I have a very special guest in the corner. Would you like to unveil your not-so-secret identity?
Yeah, sure. My name is Robbie Daymond, and I'm the voice of, I don't know, a bunch of stuff. Anime, video games, all that kind of stuff.
So we've actually gotten a chance to talk a little bit before, way back at a convention, and I think it was mostly about the convention, so I don't think we actually ever got to talk about, what sparked your interest into acting.
Oh, yeah, well, that's a good question. I've been doing this a long time. I started in theater when I was a kid, and I did professional theater all the way through, middle school, high school, and then all the way into college. I got my undergrad in theater, and then I went on and got my master's of fine arts as well. So the acting thing's always sort of been the path I've been on, and then I've always kind of just been like an undercover nerd at heart. When I left school, I knew I wanted to do something outside of theater. So I came to LA and pursued voice acting, and here we are, 10 years later.
What was really intriguing to me, as someone who is a Vegas, born and raised native, is that you went to
Sure.
UNLV and like nobody in acting ever goes to UNLV. So I was kind of curious about that.
I don't know if that's true. We've got a pretty good, it's a pretty solid undergrad and graduate department. My friend Steve Booth's a Broadway star. He graduated there with me from the same year. I've got friends who are doctors at universities and stuff. But yeah, I guess I would say voice acting's a small community, so it'd be odd to find someone that went to the same school. But I don't know. I just worked with a script supervisor who was one of my former students. So. No, they got a great program. They're a member of ERTA. They do stuff at Edinburgh every year. I guess just because it's not all that well known doesn't exactly mean that it's not a good program. Because I really enjoyed my time there. And my first 2 years at college, I went to a conservatory that is really well known that I did not care for. So yeah, I guess it all just depends on the person.
Oh no, totally. And I'm not dissing it. I'm sorry if I gave that sort of air to the question.
Oh
It's more
no.
along, yeah, it's more along the lines in voiceover. Usually people have a very kind of defined. They came from Texas or they came from California, and you didn't come from either of those places, but you've traveled kind of quite a bit through your education before you winded up in LA.
Yes. Yeah. I guess it is odd that I ended up in Vegas. But I really enjoy it there. I don't know. I mean, I suppose that's sort of the path you take. You go to school, and then when it's time to become a professional, you go to where the work is. And in our business, there's really only two places you can go, New York or LA. I suppose in anime, you could be down in Texas, but I didn't want to put all my eggs in that basket. So I ended up here, where the majority of the work has come over the last decade or so.
How do you find the transition from, getting out of school to, okay, I'm in LA where it's hellishly expensive, but, I'm going to make it.
Oh, that part's really tough, especially since I went straight from undergrad to grad school. So I was 25, in Arrested Development, still learning how to live. So, yeah, that part's hard. Those are the hardest years of my life, because, you can't be afraid of work. You can't be, because you're not going to, well, I shouldn't say everybody, but it's a really rare story for someone just to walk in and be like, oh, all of a sudden I'm a full-time actor. I mean, I suppose that happens to certain people, but I don't know any. So those years are tough. I think they're tough for anybody, regardless of whatever your job is. Getting out in the real world, it always kicks your butt for a little while.
Yeah, no, I can sympathize. I'm 26, and last year I had my first year of where, oh, finances, oh, this is great, and it's a lot of stress, and that's why I kind of admire people who are like willing to go, I'm gonna move far away from my family and go to LA and try and make it, and I think
Oh
that takes a
yeah.
lot of guts.
Well, my family was really good about that and supportive in that way. I was traveling doing summer stock since about the time I was 15, so they were always really good at letting me go off and do my own thing. But having a a support system for me back home. And then they followed me out west. My parents, when I was a kid, they moved to Arizona. So, or not when I was a kid, when I was early. I guess I left home when I was like 19 or so. I left college to transfer. Yeah, that's a weird thing, but this city eats people up. I always say, like, if my girlfriend and I are out, we meet a new couple, I'm always like, how long have they lived here? She's like, 8 months. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to invest in them yet. Like, let's see how they do after a year. Let's see if they're still here, and then maybe we'll go out for another double date. But it's a tough city and an expensive city, and same with New York. So it's definitely a learning curve going from studenting to what the kids call it now, adulting. Yeah, there's definitely a learning curve.
No, I can sympathize. It's a big reason why I've thought about moving to California, and I'm like, well, I could pay $80 to like take a plane trip to California and come back if I really wanted to, and so I've opted to stay in Vegas.
That's why a lot of people move out here with whatever they can fit in their car. So if it doesn't work out, they can throw it back in and be gone.
That's very fair.
No, I love this city. I don't know that I'll live anywhere else, at least in this country, in my adult life. It's awesome once you get in the groove. And you're 26, don't worry. Once you hit 30, everything gets a ton easier.
I hope so, but you never know. So for the fans, most of the fans know you, especially in anime, for your role in Sailor Moon in both the redub and the new one. And you said you're a fellow geek, so did you know about Sailor Moon?
Oh, sure, I knew about it. I mean, you can't be my age and like not know it from Saturday morning cartoons. But I wouldn't say I ever really watched it until I got to college. Like that's in college and like late high school is when I really started like knowing what anime was. So I had friends show me like back then it was like burned CDs of like the old edited dub. So when it came time to audition for this back in, I think this was 2014, I had to re-familiarize myself with the show and sort of like get back into the groove of the tone of it. But now I feel like I know it pretty well. It's great. Now I love the uncut, unreleased. We're releasing the unreleased episodes version of it that we're doing. Doing it as it was meant to be seen without all of the the weird like gender changes and cousin stuff and all of that was sort of watered down for American Saturday morning cartoons. So yeah, I might not have been a huge person in the know then, but I feel like I am now.
Yeah, I'm a big Moonie, and so it's interesting to see it evolve, and for a different generation. And it's really fun actually to kind of talk about the cuts that there were, even in the first season. Like there was an episode that was cut because the brother kicks Luna in the face.
Oh yeah, there was one of the first few episodes was cut because it was all about like students like being disrupting. I think it was the fortune teller episode they didn't show. Like Umino throws a rock through like the school window. There was a lot of questionable stuff in that episode, but I don't know if it was ever intended for the Y7 Saturday morning crew. So that that makes sense.
It certainly always seemed more like a teenage show to me.
Yeah.
Even growing up, even though I was introduced to the show, I think when I was like 5. It's been a very long time, but it must be. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was just going to say, was there any pressure once you got the role? There's so many people who know of the show to kind of capture that spirit and make sure that you're doing just a really spot on job.
Well, I'll say this, you said Moonies earlier, like the fandom is really positive in general. Like that's really nice. I don't know if it's the nature of the show or the nature of the people who watches it or both, but like, there's not too many like super mean internet troll Moonies out there. So that part of it wasn't so bad. But as far as like just doing your best, honestly, I'm not trying to make this sound like lofty or anything, but like I try to approach almost every role like trying to do my best. And I think if you get caught up thinking about the fans or the reaction or what the final product's going to be, you just do yourself a disservice as an actor. And it puts you in your head. You start thinking about things that aren't going to serve what's going on in the moment. And that's really all you can do is, trust that the casting director made a good choice and put you in the right role. Trust your director, trust the writing, trust the show, and then do your part of it. And then in the end, however it's received, who cares? You just hope if everybody did their best that the fans enjoy it, and that's really what matters. If you sweat too hard about how you think they're going to take your interpretation, then you're gonna get yourself all messed up in the head.
I mean, I honestly don't think that's a bad way to look at it. I think there's so many people, especially with the way that the internet is, that get caught up in mean comments, and you kind of have to realize that that's sort of the nature of the world we live in. Like, they won't do it to your face, or if you respond to them, they'll be nicer, but, when they're shouting into the void and thinking no one's listening.
Yeah, and being anonymous, too. That's, I like to think that, like, the few mean people that have said stuff, I'm like, 6 foot, 220 pounds. I'm like, man, I wonder if this kid would ever dream of saying that to my face. You know what I mean? I just that part always makes me chuckle. But no, the fans have really been awesome in Sailor Moon, and honestly, positive about most of the stuff that I've done. So I'm really waiting for the turn. I'm waiting for that turn in my career where I get to be like one of these really well-known guys, and everybody hates me, but for no other reason that I've just done a bunch of stuff. I'm excited for that. I'm gonna drink those tears up like a river. I'm stoked.
I mean, I can't lie. There are definitely phases of that where it's like you turn on a game and it's like, so and so again. Like I remember those when I was a teenager.
Yeah, but like people don't do that to I don't know, like face actors, and they're worse. Not only do we hear their same voice, we see their face and we accept it. Something about voice actors and getting cast a lot sort of has a weird stigma to it. I don't know. Maybe talk to a psychologist and explain that to me. I don't know.
No, I've never really thought about it before, but granted, I don't watch a lot of film movies very often. I'm strictly in the boat of watching like kid movies all of the time.
Sure.
And I have like one or two actors that I like, face actors that I really like, and that's about it. So I'm not as much of a movie buff, but for me personally, I never go to a movie and go, so and so again. So
right, like I have to see, I have to see Chris Hemsworth's face. It just takes me out of it. Like, what are you talking about? It's acting. It's all pretend. That's a really weird critique of voice work that I don't think I understand. Like, but whatever. Every fandom has their hang-ups.
Yeah, no, it's true. And with that, say right there, think about everyone out there in the radio land. Think about the wonders of who you did that to, and then say sorry. That's what you should.
We're real people just like you. But no, I mean, the fans are awesome. That's a big part of the reason why I do anime, because I also work in, it's Los Angeles, so there's a lot more areas that you can work in here. Like I work in film, I work in audiobooks, I do commercials, I do traditional Western cartoons and video games and all of that stuff. So there's definitely something appealing about doing anime and getting to go to these anime specific conventions and meeting the fans. It makes you feel good. It's nice. You get to do something fun for them, and you get a little bit of validation back, because we really are locked in a box 4 to 8 hours a day. So it's nice to meet real flesh and blood people who enjoy the work that we're doing. And I love the fans.
Yeah, and I'm sure a lot of the fans want me to also ask, obviously, which I'm sure this is kind of amazing in your career, because I feel like you got this big anime, Sailor Moon is a cult classic, and then you got into a staple, which was Final Fantasy, in video games, like pretty close to each other. So congratulations on that.
Oh, thanks. Well, thank you. That's not really a question. It's just a statement. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's just a statement, because usually for a lot of people, it takes them a little bit longer. They're not like bam bam. So that's one thing that we noticed, because we watch people's careers way too much.
Well, the crazy thing about this is, like, most interviews that I do, or articles, or conversations that I have, it's always this conversation of, oh man, you just, even like my friends who are in the business but maybe don't know me personally as well, it's like, man, you just got these few things and then boom, you just took off. And part of me is like, oh, that's cool that that's the way that you perceive it. But there's the other part of me that goes, oh man, you do not know the grind I've been on for the last 8 years, because all the things that you see in a release that I could be working on, there's a period over the last 5 years where I'm working on, 20, 30 projects a year. And then they come out, but you guys only see like the ones, or are aware of mostly the ones that get the most, like One Punch Man or Persona or Final Fantasy or Sailor Moon or, stuff like that. But like, you don't know about when I'm like grinding out the Walmart commercial or doing the
because
toy
nobody
commercial.
lists that. I would love it if a website somewhere lists that, because I think that's the radio spots or the audiobooks or narration or documentaries. Yeah. I'd love to know about that, but no, Wikipedia doesn't think it's worthy enough, sadly.
And IMDb is pretty good if your fandom helps you and helps the stuff like that. And Behind the Voice Actors is a really good site for animation, but it's a little anime heavy. So like, you go onto my IMDb and I have, like, let's say about 110 projects that I've worked on, almost all voiceover, and with multiple characters in each project. But then you go over to somewhere like Behind the Voice Actors and it says I've done, 86 roles. You know what I mean? And that's because they're focused on more anime and video games and stuff like that. So, keeping track of voice actors is a relatively new thing, but I don't know. If I'm perceived as like the shooting star sort of thing, as long as I don't flame out, I'm cool with that perception. I appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun, and the anime thing has happened fast, because in the last 3 years, I have done a huge amount, I feel like, from my perspective, of anime that was something that I wasn't doing at all before 2014. So yeah.
Well, I will say, from my perspective, as somebody who's been doing these interviews for like 8 years, I think we're approaching 800. I don't even want to think about it. When it comes to the commercial stuff and it comes to on-camera stuff, I generally, if it's not on your IMDb, I have to rely on either what is sent to me by an agent or what's on your website.
Sure. Sure.
I
don't update my website.
Yeah.
My website. Oh,
not you, everybody. I haven't updated my website since last year. It's not just you.
I don't even know what mine looks, if it's even online anymore. Oh God, let's not talk about it.
It is.
Oh no. I'll have to maybe fix my resume or something. But yeah, it's weird. I mean, but I am grateful for the type of projects like Sailor Moon and Final Fantasy and Persona and One Punch Man, shows like that come along with that fan recognition. It's nice, and I value the other work just as much, but those ones are special because they reach a wide audience, and people really love them, and I like that people love them.
Well, I have to say, out of the characters involved specifically in Final Fantasy, Prompto is pretty much the only reason I'm still playing. I keep having on and off moments with that game because I'm not very far, but like I have like 120 hours in it because I keep doing side quests and not the main scenario, and I've had it since.
Oh, it happened.
So I'll play it for like a week, and then I'll take like a month break, and then I'll go back and I'll be like, okay, what do I need to keep reloading and unloading to get this item?
What was I doing again?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you better finish it before episode Prompto. You don't have that long.
I know, I need to do that. And supposedly there was supposed to be a VR thing as well with him, but I don't know if that ever came out. For
There is some VR stuff in the works, but I don't know if the iteration of it is what it was promoted in the past. I don't think I can say much more than that.
That's fair. So, I'm not here to get you in trouble with the NDA ninjas. I don't want them, to come out of nowhere with their stars and just.
No, they're working on stuff though, and episode Prompto is coming along great, so it'll be out very soon, and I hope you play that.
Fantastic. Yeah. No, I need to do it, and I work and travel generally keep me away from video games.
Oh, it happens totally. I just got a Switch because I'm flying to New Zealand in like 2 weeks, and I need something to do with my life for 16 hours on a plane each way. So
yeah, definitely. Have you played any Breath of the Wild yet? Because that would be the recommendation.
That's the hardest part is I'm not touching it. It's been sitting there for a week, and it's going to be sitting there for another 2 weeks because I don't want to play it until I get on the plane. So
that's the best choice you could make. Just straight up, that's the best choice you could make.
There's only like 2 games for it, so.
Yeah, I know, right? My roommate got it like as soon as it came out. He played Zelda. He beat it within like 3 or 4 days, and he's like, "Now what?"
Right. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that.
Well, for the fans out there, since you mentioned events that you're going to, what events do you have coming up where they can see you in real life?
Oh gosh, I'd have to look at a planner. We got quite a few. Me and Ray Chase, who plays Noct, and Max Middleman, who plays Saitama on One Punch Man, and we all play a bunch of other stuff together. We do like a live show, like a live comedy and improv variety show with audience participation and prizes and stuff called Loud, Annoying, and Very Annoying. And we take that show. We've been doing it quite a bit lately, and this year we're taking it to New Zealand in 2 weeks. So if you're down under, you can come see us and Wellington and Tauranga. And then we'll also be at SAN Japan this year. I'll be in Anime Austin. I'll be at Radiant Northwest. I'll be at San Diego Comic-Con. I'll probably be at Anime Expo again this year. I'll be at, I got to think of what's announced. We'll all 3 of us will be at MetroCon in Tampa. And if you go follow my Twitter or our Twitter, that'll have all of our. I think that's another good one is, I'll be at MatsuriCon as well. And some others are just slipping my mind right now. But if you go to animecons.com and search my name, it'll show you like whatever schedule I've got coming up for the year. It's pretty nice. Pretty good little website. I don't know who runs it, but thanks to them.
Yeah. For Anime Expo, I have to ask, did you enjoy filling out your little survey that everyone's complaining about on Facebook?
I didn't do it. I refuse. Down with the man. I cannot. I can't. I found it offensive and I refused. So I'm going as a guest of several of the companies that I work for, not as a guest of honor at AX as I have in the past. Yeah, and that's just my own experiences with it. I love the fans and I love the convention, but certain things about the way it's run. Everybody's sneezing at it, and there's a reason for it.
I mean,
if Comic-Con can do it without making you write a somewhat embarrassing and offensive essay, then I think AX should be able to do it too. To distinguish who's a professional, who's not.
I agree. As somebody who goes to, granted, I go to a lot of trade shows too, like the Consumer Electronics Show and the Licensing Expo, and some of those are way easier to get into as press or whatever than it is, for an anime show.
Sure.
Which is kind of shocking to me.
And I kind of equate it to politics. I mean, I know it sounds silly, but it's like a voter ID law. It's like, are you going to alienate a bunch of people and make them upset for a non-existent problem? Like, why would you need to filter out what is the essay writing have to do with filtering out people who shouldn't be there if that's the goal, right? The vetting. And maybe I'm talking out my butt. Maybe I don't know enough about the intricacies of whatever they have to deal with. But if it seems silly, if it looks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck.
Probably. So
yeah.
You mentioned, anime cons. Do you update, social media, and where can the fans find you on social media?
Well, that's pretty easy. Twitter is where I'm most active for like promoting shows and where I'm going to be at and all that stuff. And my Twitter handle is just my name, Robbie Daymond, ROBBIEDAYMOND. If you want to follow Max Mendelman and Ray Chase's, they're the same, just their names. And our group show's Twitter handle is @LoudAnnoying, one word, and we're pretty easy to find. And then also, the standards: Facebook, Instagram, Google it. You know what to do.
I'm just every time you mention a link, I'm posting it in our live chat, so people can
put it in that
jump
chat.
on it. Yeah. For the fans out there, since we're actually nearing the end of this interview, I was wondering if you'd be willing to participate in a 91.8 The Fan tradition.
I'd love to. What is it?
Oh, fantastic. You said yes. All right, bring out the feathers. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, no. Who's the fan in my house? What's the tradition?
We ask everyone whether they're a voice actor or not, if they'd be willing to do a radio bump for us, but we do the takes live on air.
Sounds good to me. What do I need to say?
Fantastic. We need you to say, hello, my name is, you insert your name, I do this, you can put whatever you want there, and you're tuned into 91.8 The Fan.
All right.
So whenever you're ready.
Yep. This is Robbie Daymond, your friendly neighborhood voice actor, and you are tuned in to 98. Oh, no! No! Is it 91.8 or 98.1?
Yeah, it's 91.8. You're not the first. You won't be the last. Don't worry.
91.8. All right, The Fan. Did I get everything else right?
Yes, you did.
Oh, good. I got my name right?
Yes, you did.
Take two. This is why we record things, people. All right, here we go. This is Robbie Daymond, your friendly neighborhood voice actor, and you are tuned in to 98.1 The Fan.
You actually did it again.
No! Don't make me write it down. What is it?
91.8.
91 point. You know what it is? When I was a DJ in college, and it was 89.1 was our radio station.
Oh, really?
So,
yeah, that sounds about right.
Okay. 91.8.
Yes, 91.8 The Fan.
I love failing miserably on live radio. 91.8. I'm going to visualize it in my brain. All right, here we go.
All right.
This is Robbie Daymond, your friendly neighborhood voice actor, and you are listening to 91.8 The Fan.
See, perfect.
Did I do it?
Yes, you did it. Yay! So for the fans out there, before we say goodbye, are there any, words of wisdom, dating advice, predictions for the end of the world you'd like to leave them with?
Ooh, dating advice. Always be nice to your significant other. Never go to bed mad, and lots of kisses and love. End of the world advice. Make sure that you are close to your friends and you're well armed, because remember, everybody that's stocking up food and water is just stocking it up for the people with guns. And for acting advice and voice actor advice, because it's a common question I get asked the most, remember, the second part of voice actor is actor. So be sure to go take classes at your local community theater, your college, your high school, your middle school, or anywhere you can get real actor training, and then tackle the voice part second. And other than that, just be happy, healthy, and love each other.
Well, that's fantastic. That you hit all the bases. No one ever does that. They usually just take dating advice and run with it. So But thank you so much for joining us today. I can tell that the fans really enjoyed it, and this was a lot of fun.
Oh, thank you for having me. We'll talk to you soon.
And for any of the fans out there that missed any of this interview, don't fret. You can find it on the website within the next few days. So keep your eyes peeled to 918thefan.com and your ears tuned to 91.8 The Fan, where we play everything you want and nothing you don't.